Now, before we get started, I just want to let people know that comedy is subjective, and comedians do, in a sense, have a license to joke about things that would normally be unfunny, right? It is their job to try to push the edge to try to make something that would not automatically be perceived as a joke or as funny, something that you could not make comedic. It is their job to try to do that, right? Now, with that being stated, it is also within the same job to have a little bit of taste, right? To have a little bit of tact. And it is known that comedians at certain times will play up towards their audience. If they have a black audience, of course, they're going to tell jokes directed towards that black audience. If they know that their audience is non-black, then they're going to play up to that audience and tell jokes that are, of course, non-black, which will fit with the energy of the show, right? So before we get directly into the apology, I want you guys to specifically see and understand why it is that this comedian is giving an apology.
As white people at my show, and you wanted to show them the reason George Floyd got his neck nailed on. Don't ooh at that joke. It's just a joke, man. I would have never kneeled on George Floyd's neck. I would have shot that nigga. That was, man, you up here making us look. I've been to Minnesota and I went in the gas station and I asked them niggas to let me see that fake 20. Hi, this is comedian David Lucas. You know me from Kill Tony and other various roast shows. I'm an edgy, push the boundary comedian, and my job as a comedian is to bring humor in dire situations. With that being said, there's a clip that is circulating around social media, and since that clip has came out, I have spoken to a lot of George Floyd's family. I spoke to Cal Wayne, Trader Truth, Steven Jackson, and my intention was to never cause harm to his family or make them revisit a moment that happened a few years ago. I'm a father, so I get it. I understand how his kids feel. I've spoken to his whole family, and we've came, to an understanding as to how to move forward from this. And just want to apologize to his kids and everybody who was close to him.
So I want people to understand one thing about this apology, and this is why I had the IG comment directly underneath there, right? So you had a lot of people that are sitting in solidarity directly with the black comedian. A lot of those people are non-black, and they're telling him like, "Oh, it's okay. You don't need to apologize to anybody. This, that, and the third, and all this other type of stuff, right?" And realistically, as a comedian, he should not have to apologize to anybody. But specifically dealing with what he stated, he specifically said that he is only apologizing strictly to the family. He's not apologizing to the crowd that was offended, the people who walked directly out when he was performing his set. He wasn't, apologizing to any of us who may also be offended as well. He is specifically apologizing to the family, right? Specifically those who are the utmost affected, right? The kids, the mother, father, grandmother, the aunt, whoever, right? The people who are specifically affected by this the most, right? And again, as he stated, he had a conversation with quite a few of these people, and they came to some general consensus on how it is that they specifically are going to move forward directly from this, right? And again, I want to sit up there and state this again. There's a lot of times that comedians will say some things that a lot of people will get offended directly by, and it's going to happen, right? It's not if but a when, right? Because again, He stated to you before, his whole main bit is that he's edgy, he pushes the boundaries. That is his type of comedy that he performs. This is how he, gained the type of fame and notoriety that he has at this moment in time. But I also want to state again that with a lot of these things, it comes with knowing your audience, right? Primarily, I'm pretty sure. Now, I haven't watched a lot of his work, but I'm just going to go off on a limb and state that if this was an all black area, he more than likely would not specifically make, you know, that type of joke or whatnot, and things of that nature. Again, like I stated before, a lot of comics will play up towards their audience, right? So the lot of people that were there was a lot of Caucasian people there. So he's going to play up towards the audience. So he's going to say some things that will offend black people, but other people are going to find very, very funny, right? And he might say some things vice versa, right? So, it's a little bit of a touchy subject to get directly into, and I understand how a lot of people feel about what it is that he stated, how it is that he stated it, and I get it. I completely understand it, but I just want to state again that when it comes into the realm of comedy, you'll have comedians that will do these things, you know, and it's up to the people in the crowd to decide that, hey, is this something that I would just want to keep listening to or not? As you see, the people calmly just walked out. Well, technically, this wasn't the whole video, but some people calmly walked out. Other ones caused a disturbance and were trying to have a back and forth, specifically, with him. So, like I said, I'm not sure what else to realistically tell people. The only thing that I can say is that with comedy, you have tact. You have people that can deliver things in a way where it is tasteful, but it is, in a sense, it touches that boundary, you know? Um, you've had people such as, Dave Chappelle. Um, you've had instances of a Richard Pryor or a Red Fox, um, who will, touch that boundary. You'll have people such as a Paul Mooney, right, who will just so happen to do those things, right? So, you got different examples of comedians who have pushed boundaries, but they've done it in a way where it's not so offensive. It's offensive, but it's not as offensive as they could have actually made it, right? They actually, pulled back or held back on the delivery or, specific things that they could have, stated within said joke. Um, I feel that on a person to person basis, it would just come down to what is offensive and what is not offensive. Now, again, how I'm basically stating anything, it is in the middle, and that's the only reason why it's in the middle is because in life we need a ability to have conversations and to talk about things that will, make people uneasy. We shouldn't be at a point in time where we're going to, in a sense, muzzle or limit the amount of things that people can talk about or say or joke about. Because once we start going there, it's over, right? If we get to a point where we can muzzle comedians, if we get to a point where we can basically stop what a comedian is able to tell jokes about, then you're going to stop what people are able to have conversations about in real life. And that's a very scary area to, in a sense, reach into. That's an area that I don't really think that a lot of people want to go directly into, and a lot of people are not ready for. But we are very close to reaching that area. This is why a lot of the movies that we used to have back in the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s and so on, Those movies are for that time period, and there's no way in the world that a lot of those movies with the type of comedy and jokes that they had in there would ever be successful at this moment in time. So many actors would have been getting canceled. So many companies probably would have had to file for bankruptcy or had to deal with a lot of lawsuits. So again, like I said before, my commentary is a little bit, in the middle. Is what he stated offensive? Yes. Is what he stated a part of his edginess to, push people's buttons and boundaries? Yes. Is this a part of comedy? Yes. But like I said before, people can have tact. People can do things in a tasteful manner, but this is not the way that Mr. Lucas, does his comedy. So um, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Right? You guys were able to hear both the comments of the jokes about George Floyd, and then you were able to see his apology video, and then you were able to hear my commentary. So I want to hear you guys' comments specifically about it. Were you 100% offended? Are you half and half, or are you just whatever? And how specifically do you feel about the fear that a lot of comedians face when it deals with them wanting to tell jokes and them not wanting to do it out of fear of cancellation or losing money and so on and so on and so on?